Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. This is episode 257 of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and a bit of a light news week, so this might be a little bit of a shorter episode. But our deep dive is going to be covering that Pokemon Presents that happened on Sunday, which is a bit of an odd day to do it, but as I suspected, it was the anniversary of Pokemon Red and Green's release back in 1996. So I figured it had to be something like that as to why they would do a presentation on a Sunday. But yeah, that's going to be our deep dive. And outside of that, there was really not a whole lot. I had to do some digging, folks, and even then, not a whole lot going on. It's outside of like some initial reviews of the Steam Deck, all across the board. General consensus seems to be this will be good when they've ironed out the issues, but as of right now, it's got a lot of problems. So who knows? But some of that will be related to one of the news items for this week. So I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you are staying well hydrated, getting plenty of sleep, and taking care of yourself. So with that, why don't we jump right into this week's news topics so that we can get straight to Pokemon. All right, so first up, Twisted Metal. Y'all remember Twisted Metal? PlayStation's Demolition Derby game, very, very unusual, bizarre Demolition Derby game, is coming to Peacock as a live-action comedy series starring Anthony Mackie. No release date yet given. So it is going to star Captain America himself. Yeah, to tell the tale of a guy who's got to make his way across the wasteland to like deliver a package, or like deliver messages or packages or things like that, and all the while having to outrun folks like our twisted clown driving an ice cream truck. So who knows? Not really any word on like how much action versus comedy there's gonna be. But yeah. Also, no word on like what sort of audience they're going for. So this might definitely skew a little older. I think. So probably in the realm of like PG-13, maybe. Or what is it, TVT? Is that what they do for teen, or TV-13 or something? So we'll see. Next up. So this news was shocking to me, I have to say. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the 5 Netflix Marvel series. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Defenders are all coming to Disney Plus. Now, the reason why I was shocked is Disney had previously stated that they would not have mature, quote unquote, content or R-rated content on Disney Plus. That it would top off at TV, PG-13. This stuff is rated TVMA. Or would be rated TVMA. And so this was a surprise that it's coming. What Disney sort of snuck into the announcement was they're also launching it alongside new parental controls. So that's going to be how they kind of get around it. I wonder if this is to sort of consolidate the offerings on Disney Plus, because like due to licensing in other countries, stuff like this was already on Disney Plus. Like not this particular series, but like in a similar vein, there was more mature stuff on Disney Plus because like it wasn't like available on whatever other services. And so what I wonder is now is by providing these parental controls, is if it, you know, if it allows Disney to sort of unify their sort of launch like protocols or whatever, so that way it's not having to figure out like, you know, the United States gets this, but like Canada gets that, and the UK gets that. Looks like there's still going to be some element of that, but maybe to like solidify it a little bit more. But yeah, so they're all coming to Disney Plus. I for sure thought this would have come to Hulu. But yeah, so this begs the question of you know, what happens now with stuff like Deadpool? Like I can't imagine that we're going to see Deadpool on Disney Plus. Like that will probably stay on Hulu. But I don't know. It's just, you know, I also wonder like how long it's going to last before you know, a bunch of parents who don't think about it and like haven't seen the series yet, like let their kid watch it and then get horrified at, you know, say the scene in which Kingpin you know, smashes a guy's head with a car door. Or if it gets edited. That's the other concern with it coming to Disney Plus. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I shocking. I was shocked to see that. So those are coming. Geez, I didn't write it down. March. Wait, it is March. Hang on. Oh no. Oh dear. I want to say like in 2 weeks. I think it's in 2 weeks. March 16th. There we go. So US, Canada, Ireland, Australia, UK, and New Zealand. Updated parental controls available in the US specifically on March 16th. Oh, also The Punisher. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, Punisher, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are all coming then. So, yeah. Parents, if you've got kids who use Disney Plus, you know, younger kids, you might want to review the parental controls and, you know, just maybe sit down and have a chat of like, these are not I don't know. It's like kind of a spectrum. Like Daredevil, I would say Daredevil and Jessica Jones, not so much. But like Luke Cage and Iron Fist seem to trend a little bit more on the family friendly side. Unless I'm totally misremembering. It has been a while. Like I saw them when they first came out, so it has been a while since I've seen them. But wait, no. I'm sorry. I'm getting Jessica Jones and Luke Cage mixed up. Yeah, so yeah. Definitely not for younger kids. So just as a warning on that. All right. Next up. All right, so speaking of Steam Deck, Destiny 2. Bungie is warning people that the game cannot be launched on Proton. This is due to the anti-cheat software that it has, and that anyone who tries to circumvent this will be banned. So from what I have gathered, this is sort of the standard warning that they give for anybody who tries to circumvent it, just in general. And that specifically, like, it sounds like it's designed... like the anti-cheat software is like designed for Windows, and so it has a problem running on other operating systems. So Proton is the Steam Deck's operating system. So anything that's running particular varieties of anti-cheat software, mostly multiplayer games, like is not yet currently available to play. Bungie has said that once the ability to boot Windows is available on the Steam Deck, then you can run it from Windows because it'll run properly on Windows. But that part's not available yet for the Steam Deck. So yeah, so apparently like Lost Ark, Fortnite, Destiny 2, and there was one other game, all not available. So just something to keep in mind. For if you're interested in getting the Steam Deck, is that if you're into playing one of those games, you're gonna have to wait until they also clarified you can load it, you just can't launch it. Like it won't let you launch the game. So yeah. And as I said, a couple issues with the Steam Deck ranging from joystick drift, sound familiar? Low battery life, weird like crashing issues, and just all around having to fiddle with it quite a bit, to things like games not being available on the service. Kind of run the gamut from people's issues with the device. But if you are able to get your hands on a Steam Deck, and you want to share your thoughts, let me know. Definitely, I will be reaching out to frequent guest on the podcast, Joey Image, when he gets his, do a little rundown of it and his thoughts. So, yeah, that's the news this week. Again, very light news week. There's not really a whole lot going on. So why don't we get into talking about Pokemon? Okay. So Pokemon Presents, we got basically a Pokemon Direct on Sunday, and they talked about pretty much a whole bunch of stuff that I expected and that I kind of predicted during the Banjo-Kazooie stream on Saturday. And then some stuff that was way out of left field that I was like, not going to happen. And for those that are watching the live stream, as you can see, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, totally, like if you had told me beforehand that Game Freak was going to launch another mainline series game in 2022, I would have said, you're lying. That's a wild rumor and it's not happening. I'm shocked. So we're going to talk about that last, because we're just going to run through some of the other stuff because it's kind of minor. Currently live in Pokemon Go now has a Alolan Pokemon. Pokemon Masters EX is doing a 2.5 year celebration event, including like Victory Road. There's a bunch of trainers that have like alternate costumes and special moves. Pokemon Cafe Remix is getting a delivery mode, as well as Victini, shiny Piplups, Bulbasaur, like a Bulbasaur crown outfit, as part of like that sort of event that's going on. Pokemon Unite is getting a full Fury battle mode. And recent additions as well as new additions, Aegislash, Trevenant, Hoopa. Seems like a ghost invasion there, 3 different ghost types, and Duraludon is coming. So new addition to the Pokemon franchise, Duraludon being a steel dragon type, sort of Mecha Godzilla type thing from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Currently live is a mystery gift to get Oak's Letter, which that is an item that allows you to then catch Shaman in the game. So mythical Pokemon. That is available to get Oak's Letter until March 27th. So make sure don't miss that. Pokemon Legends Arceus got an update. Oh, you know what? Hang on. I think it's... Yeah, no, okay. So I wrote the wrong date down. Jeez. Okay, so Oak's Letter, that event started on February 27th. It's not that it ends on March 27th. It started that Sunday. So that's currently live in game. It takes a couple hours of gameplay. You basically have to beat the first gym and then do like a Team Galactic, Team Galaxy, whatever little fight to unlock mystery gifts. So that's how far you need to get in the game to do that. Pokemon Legends Arceus got an update called Daybreak, which basically does... so in-game they call them mass outbreaks, where previously in-game, like, you could go to an area and there would be a mass outbreak where there would just be like a spot on the map, a bunch of Pokemon in the same type would appear. This is multiple locations on the same map will have mass outbreaks. And, you know, a small quest line associated with that. That is live. That's a free update. There is also a mystery gift available until the end of this month, until March 31st. The password is Arceus Adventure in all caps, Arceus Adventure. That gives you 30 Ultra Balls, 30 Gigaton Balls, and 30 Jet Balls. So, free Pokeballs, there you go. Highest tier. They also announced there's going to be a Pokemon Legends Arceus online animated series. So that could be interesting. We'll see. I mean, it's basically, like, I'm not familiar with the term for, it's like a specific anime trope of, like, you get thrown somewhere else, whether it's like in the past, future, another dimension, or whatever. That's kind of what Arceus is. Isekai. Thank you, Driz. I knew you had it. I knew you would know. I think you posted that before. I think you posted it on Facebook. Right. Okay. So, this brings us to the last bit of news. Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. I have concerns. I have big concerns. Now, my overall feelings on Pokemon Legends Arceus are, I would say, more on the positive side, but mixed. Because I think it's a step in the right direction for Pokemon, but for me, it felt like a tech demo. Like, it felt unfinished. And it's, you know, it felt unfinished in all the ways that Game Freak games kind of feel unfinished. And so when they revealed that, like, it's not even a year after the release of this game that they're gonna release 2 new mainline Pokemon games, I'm like, I hope there's, like, I hope they're getting help from another development studio, because I'm scared. So very clearly using whatever engine they built for Arceus. Although this time it's truly open world, and so they claim, at least, that you'll be able to seamlessly go from like outside of town into town, like, without, you know, we'll see if it's actually the case, without requiring a loading screen or anything. But that like in most open world games, you know, unless it's like a very big, huge area, you know, like a lot of the capital cities in Skyrim, that you are able to seamlessly transition like through town to countryside. So I do worry about the scope. It does in the trailer, you know, obviously footage not final, has all of the issues that Legends Arceus did, where, you know, the moment something is not right in front of your face, frame rate and visual quality drastically reduce. You know, and they had it with like a row of windmills. I'm curious to see what happens with the battle system, because I don't think you can do a mainline Pokemon game with Arceus's battle system. I think they cut too many moves out. I think they oversimplified it, and you know, basically I think there was some interesting stuff going on with the agile strong style system, but ultimately like it often is not to the player's benefit. Because like the moment you get into a fight where you are fighting multiple Pokemon, the system breaks down because all of those Pokemon are going to agile style, strong style, and now you're dealing with, you know, essentially 2x attacks where X is the number of Pokemon fighting against you. And like that could be fine if you had multi, you know, attacks that could target multiple Pokemon. But they didn't include that. So here's hoping that they like kind of scale back and reintroduce some of those things. It feels weird to have a Pokemon game in which you don't have Surf or Earthquake. You know, two very big staples. You know, it'd be really nice to have double battles in this one. I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see double battles become the main format. But yeah. So this is coming late 2022. So my hope is that like it's pretty close to finished and they're spending all of this time polishing it. Because that's what I want. In which case then I was right in that Pokemon Legends Arceus is a tech demo to show off what that engine can do. So yeah. But also like it makes me nervous because I said when Arceus came out, like what Game Freak really needs is they need to contact Nintendo and be like, hey, can we borrow Monolith to help us build a world? You know, sort of like what Nintendo did for Breath of the Wild, where they said, hey, you know who makes really good open world stuff or just big environment stuff? Monolith does. We'll have them help us. And that's exactly what they did for Breath of the Wild. Let's see. So Driz says in the chat, I just hope they don't do something like Pokemon Nobles from Legends Arceus in Gen 9. I think we're going to go back to gyms. I can't imagine that they would, you know, go back to the dual, especially going back to colors too. You know, since we've strayed away from colors for so long. Like we went from, I mean, you could, well, yeah, I mean, I just don't want, oh yeah, reaction to, that's right. Yeah. I don't think so. I think I would be very surprised if we don't go back to a typical, very sort of generic Pokemon quote unquote story of, you know, there's some sort of evil team going off and doing a thing, but then also like you're trying to become the league champion. I personally, I would love to see something different. Like, I don't think Pokemon's a game where you have to have a doomsday plot attached to it. I think, you know, like it, like I could see it being, you know, something more along the lines of what the teams were in Sword and Shield and Sun and Moon. You know, even to a certain extent, like Red and Blue, where, and by extension, Gold and Silver, where Team Rocket, Team Skull, Team Yell, they weren't like out for world domination. It was just like they were just gangs of punks. um, and like they just exist, right, in the world. And, if it were truly an open world game, you could decide to do something about it or not. But yeah, no, I think we'll go back to gyms and go back to standard like gym battles. I think the nobles thing was something specific to Arceus, I feel like. Now that said, if they want to do a reaction time thing for, say, optional EV training, because like I would be all for streamlining EV training, sort of like they did in Arceus or like they did in other games, like Sword and Shield. But I do miss the sort of soccer mini games from X and Y. That was just like, number one, it had absolute bangers for soundtracks there. And then number two, like it was just a fun mini game to play. If you didn't feel like doing a grind, using traditional Pokemon stuff. Like they were awesome enough that I was like, I have to figure out how to remix this so that I can, put it in an RPG Maker project, because like it is the best battle music. Like it would be great if Pokemon took that, put the super training music, and made it, I can't remember if it was super training or secret super training, and made that just the battle music for the game. That would be great. So I think we'll go back to gyms. I think we're going to see a return back to the more traditional battle style. I certainly would love to see like more moves come back. I do think we are not going to get a national Pokedex. I don't think we see national Pokedex come back in any shape or form. Now that said, what I think Game Freak could do, and the Pokemon Company, is if they just come out and say, listen, here's the Pokemon that are going to be in at launch. We are, and just like be upfront about it. Say, we're planning on DLC. There's going to be more Pokemon in there. We're not going to have all 900 of them, in the game at the same time, but we're going to have a pretty big chunk of that in there. And like, if they were upfront about it and just say, listen, we can't get all of them, but we can get a bunch of them, I think the whole Dexit thing would have gone over a lot better. Like, if they were upfront when Sword and Shield launched, that like, hey, we're thinking about doing DLC, and we'll put more Pokemon in there that aren't in the launch, that aren't in at launch, I think people would have been less upset. Like, I still think there would have been people upset about that they weren't doing the national Pokedex, but at least then it would have been less of like all this weird talk about whether, like, what is the reason, and it might just be, which like later came out and just said, it's just game balance. Like that's ultimately what happened, was it was game balance. It might be nice if the limited decks got all of the Pokemon not in Galar. Potentially, maybe. Honestly, what I would love to see is, I'm of the opinion, I don't mind not having a giant Pokemon roster. I mean, because like at this point, like where are we at for re-releases? Black and White, I did not care for the Black and White starters at all. So, and that's usually the thing, is like people want their starters to be in the game. I think we can kind of cool it with the red and blue Pokemon for a while. But yeah. Yeah, I think, if they do a reduced dex, I would say keep it to 150. 150 Pokemon. You put in 50 new Pokemon, and then you pick 100 that make sense for the region, and that maybe also haven't gotten a lot of love. And there you go. And especially like if Pokemon's gonna come out every other year, do that. Or if we reach a certain point, I don't know. I also feel like with Pokemon Home, I don't know. I guess or have some other side game, whether it's like a remake or maybe a smaller game. Or here's the thought, just make Pokemon Stadium. I think that's what people want, is they just want Pokemon Stadium, and they want, because like if you were to do that, you could probably have it include all of the Pokemon and like just update it to whoever the current gen is when you release a new gen. Because Pokemon Stadium, you could do that as a games as a service. Like, there you go. And just let people, bring in their teams from Pokemon Home and go to it. So, but anyway, interesting things. I don't know, is this the first time that the title has been different between both games? Now, what I mean is not necessarily, like, obviously they've all been different, like red, blue, red, green, you know, gold, silver, black, white, crystal, yada, yada, yada. But what I mean is the design of the titles is different between both games. And I don't think that's been done before. Like Scarlet has a different font than Violet, and it has a different pattern than Violet. And I don't know what that means. Like, coming from a design background, that means that there is something relevant to how these games are different. And I think it would be interesting, and I think it would be more interesting than just having a different set of Pokemon in each game. Like, it's the same game, but there's a different set of Pokemon. But I also don't know if that's feasible. But yeah, so that was the big question that I had. Now, we got to see the starters. So we have the Grass Cat Sprigatito, the Fire Croc Fuecoco, and the duck or duckling Pokemon Quaxley. This will be the first time ever, folks, since 1998, that I will pick a fire starter. Like Gen 1 and 2 were water type, all about them water types. Gen 3, I was like, well, time for Trico. Looks like I'm going into grass types now. Gen 4, Turtwig, have to pick Turtwig. Gen 5 was like, I'm not really feeling any of these options, so we're gonna pick Snivy, I guess. Gen 6, Froakie. Have to go Froakie. Back with water types. Felt good. Gen 7 was Rowlet. So again, back to grass types. Gen 8, Sobble, so bouncing back and forth between water types. So yeah. So Fuecoco, totally going with that. There is some consternation thinking that like he's based on a ghost pepper, and so that he'll be Fire Ghost. When I heard that, I was like, oh, now's the time for Pokemon to change it up. Final evolutions. We get Fire Grass. We get Water Fire. And then we get grass water. There we go. And then they're all neutral. It's that none of the starters then, none of the final evolutions then have an advantage against the other ones. Then you have to start getting into weird stuff. Like poison or let's see, water, fire, like electric type. Grass, water, yeah, flying. Because I don't think we have fire grass. We have grass water. And water fire is unique to Volcanion, I believe. So this brings up an opportunity to also introduce those types. I don't know off the top of my head if they're all good typings or not. But I liked how the theme that they introduced in X and Y of the primary types all go in one direction, and then the secondary types go in the other direction. I think. No, it was they still stayed in the same direction. Sorry. Yeah, because fighting beats dark and dark beats psychic beats fighting, yeah. So, the other thought was like, what if it goes in the other direction? Like, primary type goes in one direction, secondary type goes in the other direction. And so like you have a little bit of counterplay in there. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping that we and this is not the only time that I've seen this commentary, is that we get more monstrous final evolutions for our starters and less humanoid ones. I know, I feel like it was starting with XY. Yeah, it was starting with Gen 6 was when we started to get more humanoid final evolutions. And it would be nice to kind of pull back from that and go back to more monstrous forms. So yeah. Also, I wonder if we're going to get, like, if the new Pokemon are going to go back to having sort of, I noticed this commentary a while back of like someone hypothesizing that maybe what's setting people off about newer Pokemon versus, Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon is like the style that the eyes are depicted in. And they did a thing of like how there's a lot of like triangular eyes with small pupils in Gen 1 and 2, and how like once you start getting past that, it's a lot of like rounder eyes with big pupils to make them like look cuter. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll get that, but it would be interesting. So yeah. Ultimately, final verdict is I like the starters. I need more information on what the development process has been like for this game before I feel good about it. This feels like this might be a wait and see for me. Just because of the issues that I have. Like, to be clear, I enjoy playing Pokemon. I enjoy playing Arceus. But like, it's like, it feels weird for to have a Pokemon game where I actively try and avoid combat because the combat's not fun for me. And I guess, it's coming from a place where like I have tried to develop RPG Maker projects using the Pokemon combat system as a basis for it, or basing it off of the Pokemon combat system and using it like inspired by it. And playing into, there's a lot of interesting design space there, and it feels like they took 2 steps back. Just by having a lot of moves that were just like, it just deals damage, or it deals damage and buffs or debuffs, which nobody cares about. Because, again, because you're not doing double battles, like buffing and debuffing makes more sense for PvP than it does for PvE. Because and especially if all of your abilities are just like buff or debuff or deal damage or do both, like while you're trying to set up, the enemy Pokemon's just slamming you repeatedly. And so you have to and because of how they changed the damage calculation in Arceus, like you can't rely on being resistant to a damage type or being over leveled to be able to set up on things. So yeah, we'll have to see. One final thought is regarding the setting is like lately they've been modeling stuff after like other regions outside of Japan. So I wonder if this is meant to be Iberian Peninsula? Maybe? Or maybe Mediterranean? I don't know. Like Sprigatito and Fuecoco like feel like they have one kind of it's one of these things is not like the other. And so you have Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and then you have Quaxley. And it's like, oh man, you ruined the vibe, duck. But yeah, I think Nintendo will definitely have more information on this at E3, certainly. I just hope that they put more polish on it and that they really improve on Arceus. Like, I think if they actually improve on Arceus's engine and make things work, this could be really good. It's just the fact that it's like coming out this year. I'm a little worried about it. Just because it's Game Freak. Like, if it was Nintendo, like proper, that was developing this game, I would have said absolutely. Like, let's do it. Let's Majora's Mask this up. But you know, Game Freak worries me. So that is gonna wrap up our deep dive on the Pokemon Presents. Let's just do quest log really quick. So, did not get a Chapter 1 comic colored last week. Just had a lot of stuff going on. Could not get it done. Started to do one today. But yeah, just it had a bad art stream. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. And it kind of just delved into the rest of the... Like, it kind of left a negative vibe going for the rest of the week. So, had a hard time doing that. Did get stuff done in Banjo-Kazooie. Cheated a little bit by playing it on stream, so I got 2 areas done. So next up, Gobi's Valley. Not sure if I'm going to do it on stream or not. We'll see. Might go back and do more Pokemon instead. But goal is complete Gobi's Valley and finish 8-Bit Adventures Chapter 1 Comic 95. So getting real close to that coveted 100. And then once we do that, pagination. So that'll be exciting. I will make a big announcement when that's all done. Because once those print files are done, I mean, the book's going to be print on demand. So there we go. All right. So yeah. Thank you all for joining me for this episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. That is going to wrap up our show for this week. If you would like to see more stuff by me, you can check out my comics, my art, podcasts, all that stuff over at 8-bitadventures.com. If you would like to help support that content, please consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help support all of this stuff. You get early access to comics. You get exclusive access to comics starring me, dog. And then some behind the scenes D&D content. Big shout out and thank you to all of my current patrons, all of my supporters on Twitch, all the subs on Twitch, and all that stuff. And just you folks at home who are listening to this podcast. Thank you. If you listen to the audio version of the podcast, please consider leaving a 5-star review on what is it, podcasts now? Or wherever you get your podcast feed. Or it could be like the Apple store. Jeez, I'm so out of touch these days. I think it's the I think it's the podcast app. Because that helps search rankings for it. Because it's it's a little podcast, so it'd be nice to just get some more people in here. Chat about stuff. Opening theme for this podcast is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, we are finished. So as always, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming, and enjoy your piking.